Hey y'all, it's Brianna, and today I just want to talk to you about how I got to where I am and what led me to where I am right now. So I am not where I want to be, and I think that is how I will be my whole life because I will always be striving for more and working for more. But the dream job is to be a child life specialist. So that's what I mean when I said I'm not where I want to be. So I'm on the path to child life, and I have been on this path for 7 years. So I started in high school, and I didn't know I was starting down this path. I wanted to go into radio and have my own radio show whenever I became a children's hospital volunteer. We have a recording studio at my hospital, and so I thought that volunteering at the hospital would be like my big break, kind of show me the ropes and stuff like that. And no, that didn't play out like that. I loved working at the hospital. Clearly, I've been there for 7 years. So I started between my freshman and sophomore year, the summer between. And then 2 years later, I got to actually work with patients. So I wasn't old enough to work with patients, so I did a bunch of special events. I did making deliveries, guiding families and friends from entering the hospital into the patient's room. So a lot of indirect stuff with patients. So talking to families and friends and seeing how resources at the hospital improved the family's life, but also the time for the patient being at the hospital. So yeah, I'm just going to run through some things that kind of helped me prepare for. Now I'm applying for internships, so things that led me to this point to be able to feel like I will be a competent, excellent internship student. So like I said, volunteering at the hospital, and that in itself, I have done a lot of things. I have addressed envelopes, I have rolled t-shirts, I have stuffed Build-A-Bears, I have been the mascot, I do patient room visits, that's my favorite. Just spending time with patients bedside, or if they can leave the room, to take them to the playroom, take them outside, just go for a walk. Support groups, I've done special events, I've helped with holiday celebrations, medical camps, so just a variety of things. I would say wherever you volunteer, just be flexible and be open to accept and try new things, because anytime I do that, I end up with an awesome story, maybe a free t-shirt, and just a skill set. I feel like my network has grown. I've been able to meet so many different people by trying new things and doing new things. And then it helps kind of, if I volunteer to work with a certain population, I can tell if I do like that unit, or if I don't like that unit and I don't feel like that's for me, or know that, okay, if I'm going to work with this kind of population, I need to prepare myself by doing XYZ. So yeah, I would say don't put any limits on yourself. Be willing to try something new. Through school, I've done a bunch of classroom observations, seeing how kids work with peers their age in a school setting. I babysit and nanny, so seeing how siblings do at home, or with their parents around, or sibling interactions. I love working with kids, so if I can babysit, that is amazing. And then what else have I done? CPS stuff. So I did 24 hours shadowing a CPS investigator. That was really interesting and way different than anything I've done before. But I currently work as a youth care specialist at a group home, and so I feel like being able to reflect on my experience working with the investigator helps me now work with kids who have been on the other side of CPS, and I feel like that makes me a better caregiver for them. Being able to see both sides of it. And then I already kind of touched on that. My current job, I work with child welfare now at a group home, and so I'm working at a teenage house, so it's 14 to 18 years old, and then if they decide to extend care, 18 to 21. And that was something that I was nervous about just because of the age and in the hospital, I remember me and a bunch of like volunteer friends talking about how scary teenagers were, and now I'm with them all the time, and I love working with teenagers. So now I'm able to go back to the hospital after having all this experience with the adolescents, and I feel like such a better volunteer because I realize that they're not scary, and just how incredible adolescents are, and what a gift that age is, because they're able to talk and communicate, and I think with me being young, that helps too. So yeah, and then some other ways I have prepared myself for an internship is I did my practicum. I became a hospice volunteer, and then that led to my practicum position. Was scared of hospice, scared of death and sadness, and I like being happy, and so I didn't think I could do that. Which goes back to trying something new. I don't know why I worked with teenagers in hospice when they scared me, but I loved both of those settings, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have, gone out on a limb and tried something new. So yeah, I learned a lot from hospice, and that was working with pediatric patients, children of adult patients, and siblings, and the whole family really. So I would say also don't try to limit yourself to working with children, because the whole family is affected by hospitalization. So if you know how to work with parents or siblings or grandparents or aunts and uncles, when a kid's in the hospital, everyone's affected. And so I think that's a big misconception people have about child life, is that I want to work with kids, therefore I will be a child life specialist. But you also have everyone else involved. So sometimes you may talk to the adults more than you talk to the kiddos. And so if you are prepared, I feel like that'll make you better for working in the field. And I say all this, I'm not in the field, I just volunteer, but I'm thinking ahead, and these are my thoughts. I also volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House, so they have a program where you can provide meals to people staying at the house. So I feel like that's a really good opportunity for you to get help people impacted by hospitalization, but outside the hospital. So it's kind of a mix. It's more like a home, but it's still hospital, stressful, and the whole family is able to be there. And then also, like I mentioned, school and babysitting. If you are involved in a church, I have worked with the youth group. I've worked with little preschool age children, and so I feel like that's a really good opportunity to get some experience with kids. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing for child life students is to get involved as early as possible. While getting your degree is great and wonderful and necessary, that is doing the bare minimum. And I know that volunteer hours are required, but I would say that requirement is the bare minimum. Do as much as possible, as much as you can. You don't have to commit yourself to being a volunteer for life, but I think that through the volunteerism you gain work skills, you gain a network of people who are in the field that you want to be in, you gain a skill set, and just experience. I wouldn't know how to become a child life specialist if I hadn't been volunteering all along, and so I just think about people who found out about child life later in their education, and I don't know how they do it, because if I wouldn't have known what I was getting into as soon as I did, I don't think I could do it, just because there's so many things about child life that you have to kind of self-teach yourself. And I went to a school that advertised that they have a child life program, and there was still a big lack of resources and guidance. And so I'm so grateful for the hospital and for the network that I've built for myself, because if it wasn't for the people outside of my college, I wouldn't be where I am. And also having friends and family who are willing to weather the storm with you as you journey to child life, because it's a field that not many people know about, not many people understand, and the internship practicum education route is different than most. I have a lot of people that are just like, oh, well, just get an internship, and it's not that easy, because most people have to go through several rounds, and it's just kind of on your own. So yeah, find yourself a good support team who will weather the storm with you and be your cheerleaders along the way, because yeah, you really need it. Yeah, so don't limit yourself on anything. Of course, anything healthcare related is going to be an amazing experience, but also if you, I know location is a big thing, so if you aren't near a hospital, don't overlook the opportunities that you do have in front of you and take advantage of what you do have and relate it to the child life profession and how your experiences, whatever they may be, benefit the hospital and benefit your understanding of child life. Side note, I work in the wedding industry, and so I do talk about that in my interviews because I feel like it's relevant. I feel like working with people, like collaborating with people to make an event go well, and just planning. Child Life does a lot of the special events planning, and so I feel like that's a skill that you could look at me working in the wedding industry and say that's not relevant at all. But I say that yes, it is, because the way that I work with a team and collaborate with others and work on a timeline, I feel like that transfers over. And so just the skill set that it's provided me, it's not the same field, but the skills I've been able to use do cross over. So yeah, I just want to encourage you to make the most of wherever you are and do your best to get creative about how you view child life.